right, let's go ahead and call this Pompano Beach CRA meeting to order, December 19th, 2023. If I could ask everyone to please silence your cell phones or put them on vibrate, that way we don't get disrupted during our meeting, that would be terrific. Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier?
Here.
Commissioner Moss?
Here.
Commissioner Perkins?
Here.
Commissioner Segerson-Eaton?
Here.
Vice Chair McGee?
Here.
Chair Hart.
Here, if I could ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I get a motion approving the City and CRA Board Joint Special Meeting Minutes of October 12th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Can I get a motion to approve CRA Board Meeting Minutes of October 17th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you for that. Are there any changes to our agenda this afternoon, Mr. Harrison?
No, sir.
Very good. Can I get a motion approving the agenda as printed?
So moved.
Second.
And seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. On our consent agenda this afternoon, we will be pulling item number 3 for discussion individually. So items 1, 2, and 4 will be eligible for discussion during audience to be heard. So we will be pulling item number 3. All right, that takes us up to presentation. Presentation by FPI Security Services. Let's see, who's going to, Ms. Vasquez, you're going to cue it up for us?
Yes, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Board members. Kimberly Vasquez, Senior Project Manager. At the last CRA Board meeting in October, you requested that FPI, our security service company, and roving ambassadors to come in and give you a brief presentation and update of the activities in both the East and the Northwest District. At this time, I'd like to introduce Jorge Castro, who will be providing you with that update.
Very good. Please come forward, Ms. Castro. Just identify yourself for the record, please.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Commission members and members of the audience. Thank you, Ms. Vasquez, for the introduction. Can you all hear me okay? Is that good? First and foremost, wanted to thank everyone here for the opportunity for me to present to you. We have some reports here for you. I'm not sure if you guys have a copy of these reports, but I'm going to briefly summarize the incidents that have taken place basically in the last 30 to 45 days or so. So grand total of incidents have been 43 incidents. I want to reiterate that the relationship that FPI Security has with both the office and the members of law enforcement with the Broward County Sheriff's Office has been nothing short of spectacular. Their support and the way that they back us up here out in the field, our security officers, has been nothing short of spectacular. So I want to thank everyone involved for that. Assisting other officers, we had 2 incidents. Disturbances, we had 1. Illegal dumping, we had 4. Loitering, we had 20. Medical assistant, we had 2. Trespassings, we had 13. And weather conditions, we had 1. And there is your grand total of 43 incidents. At this time, I'd like to open it up to the Commission to see if you guys have any questions, Mr. Mayor, members of the committee.
Very good. Thank you for that. If you could just identify yourself for the record.
I'm sorry, sir?
Identify yourself for the record.
Yes, sir. My name is Jorge Castro. I'm the operations manager for FPI Security Services.
Very good. Thank you for that. Okay, let's go ahead and open it up for commission discussion, questions, concerns. Anyone like to, Commissioner Perkins?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Your patrol, is it just on Martin Luther King?
No, ma'am. It's not only in that area. Our patrol encompasses other areas in the city of Pompano, but more importantly, the reports that I have are the Northwest District and the East District.
What areas do you cover in the Northwest District?
The Northwest District in particular, we have, they are outlined in your report, ma'am. There are several areas here that we have. I don't have specific locations. Yes, please.
Yes, they specifically do MLK Boulevard from the Andrews Avenue overpass over to the Old Town area, over to 2nd Street and patrol that area. Mainly the commercial corridors. They do behind the City Vista as well as the Ally around the Saxon Wall areas, and then go a little bit to the north where we own property on 4th Street. So that's really their main patrol area. They look over all the vacant properties that the CRA currently owns within that corridor area to make sure that we don't have vagrant activities taking place on those properties.
Okay, so it does cover City Vista. That was pretty much my question, City Vista, because they've been having a lot of problems there with the homeless as well in that complex there.
They don't do City Vista per se. The City Vista has a separate security company that they do overnight, but they do around like Annie Adderley Gillis Park and City Vista property, but they don't go on the property itself unless they're specifically called to do so.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Fournier, then I've got Commissioner Segerson-Eaton.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, ma'am.
I know one of the questions I had in looking at the reports at our last meeting was the difference in the Northwest and the East CRA. So in the Northwest, there were 30-something pages of incidents, and there were only 3 in the East. And when I look at the monthly reports, seems to be a lot of variability between the two. And I know I had been getting a lot of complaints from business owners and residents in the East CRA along the shops at Harbor Village, some of those areas. So are they staffed separately, or is it the same people and then you just have to decide where to put them?
It's not staffed separately. It's the same folks assigned to a particular zone or schedule, if you will. However, there has been a drastic decrease in incidents due to the fact that the proactive patrols that we have implemented have been very effective. So as far as to answer your question specifically, ma'am, on the East CRA area, what we can do is if you have had some complaints in that area that have been frequent, we can increase patrols there, and we will do that. So I'll make a note of that and make
Okay.
sure we take care of that for you.
So who should we reach out to if we start receiving, I mean, normally I reach out to BSO, but it sounds like you're another resource that should be aware when there's issues. So it's Kim?
Those calls go to the office here, and then they relate that to us. We meet on a monthly basis, and I'm a part of those meetings with my right hand, which is my director of security that oversees the project on a more intimate level. But yes, absolutely, once those calls come to the office, they come directly to us and we take action.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very good. Commissioner Segerson-Eaton.
Thank you, Mayor. You also patrol Old Pompano, is that correct?
We do, ma'am, yes.
And have you been interfacing with any of the security personnel from Heritage Station?
Not that I've seen on reports. We do work hand in hand with your other security providers, but mainly it's BSO who we get these reports from. But
Okay.
Yes, new and trans CRA director. Heritage is on the other side of the CRA boundary, so
It is.
yeah, they do not patrol, roving patrol over there. They do cover in the old Pompano area up to 2nd, but Heritage is just on the other side.
Okay, well,
thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very good. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, no, I was a little shocked with the ECRA report and how low the numbers actually were in there. What time do your patrols start and end?
I believe these patrols start at 6 p.m. Is that correct, Kimberly? 7 a.m. to midnight are the hours of these patrols, these areas. But like I said, ma'am, we've stepped up patrol efforts quite significantly, and the goal is to have a proactive approach to the security program.
Right, and that's what was going to be my follow-up. Was it more proactive or reactive? Because you kept talking about calls. And I know just from going to breakfast there in the morning, for instance, in front of Cafe Max is a place where people like to camp out because Cafe Max doesn't open until later on in the evening. And just other little places along the East Harbor shops that it just seemed, again, the number just seemed low just from my own observation of what I've walked by. So I think definitely, even if there's not as much call, sometimes it's still there, and as long as you're proactively, looking, I think it's definitely a thing to step up and just keep focus on. Because even if we're having a downtick, we need to continue that direction, definitely.
Understood, ma'am. We'll make a note of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, if you could just illustrate briefly, you said you had 20 medical calls?
We did, Mr. Mayor. They were medical calls, medical assistant calls. We had 2. Loitering calls, we had 20.
Oh, loitering was
Loitering,
20.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Medical assistant calls, we had 2. And they're assistant calls to BSO whenever they reach out to give us a call that they need assistance with these medical calls.
Okay.
But the 20 are your loitering calls.
Very good. Appreciate it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions from the commission? Commissioner Perkins?
Yes, do you patrol Flagler?
I believe that's an area of our
do?
patrols. Flagler is one of
Is part
those
your
areas.
patrol?
Flagler Avenue, yes, from 1st to 4th.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I asked that is because we have a business over there. I don't know the name of it. It's a beauty salon, and they have to call BSO pretty much several times a week to be escorted to their cars after they close their business. So if you all could patrol that a little bit more.
And we do encourage, and the patrol officers do go to these businesses. They also have checkpoints. They have to, that's why you see some of the pictures in these reports, is they have to log in on their phone as checkpoints for each one of these areas. But we do encourage the businesses to call FPI if they need escorting to their vehicles. And that goes for any of the businesses in the east or the northwest. And going back to Cafe Max, what we've also run into is maybe we need to do some form of education to these business owners, because what we find out, and these security officers do run them out when they see them loitering, but they'll be charging their telephones, or the businesses are allowing them to stay at that location, and they consider it almost like a protection method to keep others from loitering as well. So these are some of the comments that we do get back from time to time from these officers.
Very good. Anything further? Commissioner Segerson-Eaton?
Yes, I just wanted to make, just to, if someone is, if someone feels that they're being accosted or harassed by someone just approaching them, it's important, always important to call 911. And I'm if 911 or the non-emergency money number, but if you're feeling threatened, you definitely should call 911. And it helps to get it out there that there are certain persons that are aggressive, so that you and BSO can, address these individuals, because that's unacceptable behavior. So that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Anything further from the commission? Seeing none, thank you very much for the presentation. Appreciate the presentation and the good work out in the field.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very
Thank
good.
you all for having me. Have a
Okay,
great day.
thank you. All right, that takes us up to audience to be heard. Gervin, do we have anyone signed up?
No sign-ups, Mayor.
Okay, no audience to be heard today. That takes us up to consent agenda. Can I get a motion approving items 1, 2, and 4?
So moved?
Second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. That takes us up to item number 3 is a resolution.
A resolution of the Pompano Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving amendments to the bylaws for the Northwest CRA Advisory Committee relating to membership and meetings, providing an effective date.
So moved?
Second?
Moved and seconded for discussion. This item was pulled by Commissioner Perkins. Commissioner?
No.
Oh, I apologize. It's
I think it was Commissioner Moss and
Commissioner Moss and Commissioner Fournier. Commissioner Moss, my mistake. Okay, Commissioner Fournier.
Thank you. I had a few questions about this and really item 4, because they go together. It looks like we're modifying the bylaws for the advisory committees. Are we in violation of these bylaws? Are we not meeting monthly right now because we're changing it to quarterly meetings?
We're not in violation. What staff has recognized is that there's not always a need for a monthly meeting, and so rather than have the monthly requirement, we're saying at least quarterly, which means we can meet every month, but we only have to meet quarterly.
Okay, so is the intent then, you'll meet when there are
When
items on the
there's a
agenda
need,
to- okay.
exactly.
Got it. And then in the explanation here, in the Northwest CRA, we are changing the requirements for the qualifications for the board, but not in the East. So I think, are we just aligning them so that it's the same qualifications now?
Yeah, we had already changed the East some time ago, so this is an alignment.
Okay. And then one last question. It says in here, to achieve representation from all commission districts. We don't nominate directly to this board, correct?
As I understand the process, the staff lets, post that there are vacancies, and then people apply, and then the applications come to you for you to choose who's going to be on the committee.
Okay, and we select as a board, we nominate.
As a board, you select, exactly.
Okay, but now you can, as a resident, have more opportunity if you don't live in the Northwest CRA to put in an application and be considered for a position on that board.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Moss.
Yeah, you've answered my question. It was the rationale for doing this, so thank you.
Very good. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Further commission questions, concerns? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Seegerson-Eaton,
Yes.
Vice Chair McGee,
Yes?
Chair Harden.
Yes, that takes us up to our regular agenda. Item number 5 is a resolution.
A resolution of the Pompano Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving and authorizing the proper officials to execute a second amendment to the lease agreement between the CRA and Blaze and Algalite Augustin for property located at 128 North Flagler Avenue, providing an effective date.
So moved?
Second?
Moved and second for discussion. Good afternoon once again, Ms. Vasquez.
Yes, once again, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Board members, Kimberly Vasquez, Senior Project Manager. The item before you is a second amendment to the lease agreement between the CRA and Blaze and Augustin that was approved back in 2012 by Resolution 2012-39 as part of the overall vision for the backyard project, which was completed in April of this year. This is the second largest parcel in that backyard area and lies behind 128 North Flagler Avenue and 165 Northeast First Avenue. The second amendment to the lease will do two things. One is the description of premises, and it really clarifies that this is for outdoor use of a restaurant. I think before it stated it was for commercial kitchen. And then Section 3A of Paragraph 3, which is rent, and adjust the rent to an annual market rental rate of $9,702, which is based off the appraisal that was received back in March of this year. At this time, that completes my presentation on this item. I'll take any questions the board may have, and staff is asking for approval.
Very good. Thank you for that. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion. Questions, Commissioner Fournier?
Thank you, Mayor. I think you answered one of my questions, Kim. This is based on the same appraisal and has the same rental rate as the lease we approved at the last meeting?
That is correct.
Okay. So this is the appraisal that has single-family homes in it and 10 and 6-acre parcels up on Federal Highway?
It was the appraisal that was provided in the last agenda item.
Got it. Are there, how many more, okay, two questions. Did we attempt to have purchased this, or is the goal to always just to continue leasing?
Of course, the CRA would like to purchase at any time. This one's a little bit different because it is attached to the building. The one that was brought to you formally was a standalone. And at this point, the owner of that property is not interested in selling. He did approach us as the CRA to ask us if we would make consideration of paying him the annual fair market rate for that parcel.
Okay. And between the two that last meeting and this meeting, what % of the backyard is that? Or is this most of the leases, the square footage that we're bringing up to a higher market value at this point, or are there more out there?
No, at this point, this is, we haven't been approached by any of the other properties, and they are much smaller parcels, like they're hundreds of feet, where these two that you're talking about are in the thousands.
Okay, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Further commission discussion, questions? Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
No.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Seegerson-Eaton,
Yes.
Vice Chair McGee,
Yes.
Chair Harden.
Yes, item number 6 is a resolution.
A resolution of the Pompano Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving and authorizing the proper officials to execute a contract for sale and purchase between the CRA and Bayside Investors, Inc. for the property at 122-124 South Federal Highway, Pompano Beach, Florida 33062, in the amount of $1,550,000, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
So moved?
Second.
Moved and second for discussion. Good afternoon, Ms. Lamassier.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Board members. Cassandra Lamassurier, CRA Real Property Manager. Staff is seeking approval from the CRA Board for the purchase of the commercial property at 122-124 South Federal Highway in the amount of $1,550,000. The property is a 2-story, 5,500 square foot commercial building, and it also has a 15-space parking lot located east of the building, and it's on a 14,000 square foot land area. It's situated, as you can see on the aerial, it's outlined in yellow. The property that's already owned by the CRA is outlined in red, and it's sitting on the northeast corner of South Federal Highway and Southeast 2nd Street. The property is zoned TO transit oriented. It's within the East Overlay District. It has a use and density designation because they're combined of mixed-use Main Street, optional residential, and it does allow up to 90 dwelling units per acre. The maximum height for a commercial redevelopment project would be 105 feet, and a residential or a mixed-use project would be a maximum allowed height of 80 feet. The purchase price is 10% above the fair market value as determined by an independent appraisal that was done September of this year. And the CRA will also be offering leases to the 4 commercial tenants that are on the property, which would generate $70,000 in annual revenue to the CRA. The East CRA Advisory Committee did review this request on December 6th, and they recommended approval with a vote of 5-1. And staff does also recommend approval of the contract, and I'm available for any questions you have.
Very good, thank you for that. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion, questions, concerns. Commissioner Moss.
You said an appraisal was done on this?
Yes, appraisal was conducted by Callaway and Price. They did a sales comp and an income approach. The sales comp used 4 comps, all located within Pompano Beach, the furthest being 2 miles, a little under 2 miles away from this property. The rest were much closer, some of them within hundreds of feet.
Generally speaking, you provide a copy of the appraisal, and it's not here. Why is that?
We had actually stopped providing copies of the appraisals just because they're so large in volume that they're normally 40, 50 pages. If the board likes, we can absolutely always include appraisals in future acquisition items.
Well, here we are asking us, to approve $1.5 million, and the only proof of the value that you provide is the Broward County appraiser's estimate, which is half of the purchase price. So from the standpoint of a citizen looking at this, they're saying, I would say, what proof of $1.5 million do you have when the Broward County property appraiser says it's worth half that amount? So I'm reluctant to approve this because I don't have any proof that it's worth that much money.
I do have a copy of the appraisal with me if you'd like for me to bring it up so you can see what their estimation
I'd like to have time to study the appraisal, not just, here, take 30 seconds and look at it. No. So that concerns me. In the future, absolutely, I need to see the appraisal. And it's not just because I'm a former appraiser. I think anyone up here does. But we have no proof of what this value is. And you're asking us to approve at $1.5 million because you want it. So I'm very concerned about that. The level you're asking us to, just saying, trust me. Well, not with $1.5 million. So I'm very concerned about that you haven't shown me anyway, what the property is worth.
Cassie, is there any urgency on this? Could we put it off until January?
My understanding is the board, because of Broward Days, was not planning on meeting in January. So
Okay.
it's possible then you would be asking to wait until February. There's always a risk if they chose to sell the property to someone else because they're not under contract with us.
We can put it off to January. We may be having a special meeting, one before the commission meeting on the second commission meeting. So there is a possibility of putting it on in January.
Okay, but there's still always a risk. I know, anytime there's a risk, a seller can decide, nope, that's it. Very, very good, thank you for that. I've got Commissioner Fournier.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with Commissioner Moss that we need to make sure the appraisals are included in here as the backup so that we can see what we're approving, especially with high dollar amounts like this. This is most of the annual budget for property acquisitions in the East CRA. Do we have other potential targets this year?
Not any large dollar targeted acquisitions that we know the owners are willing to sell at this point. We always try to negotiate to purchase property that's adjacent to property we already own. But yes, you're right, at this point, there's $1.88 million that's in the property acquisition budget in the East CRA, so this will take the majority of that budget and only leave a few $100,000 remaining.
Okay, and I think I read that there are residents in that building now. Is that correct?
They have two month-to-month tenants that are in the second floor of the building. The CRA does not get into property management for residential tenants, so the owner is aware that we will not be offering leases to the residential tenants.
Is the owner or the CRA working with these people to ensure that they end up finding a place to live? I know it's difficult.
The owner had not requested and we had not offered relocation assistance. One of the reasons being that these were on a month-to-month basis as far as the tenancy.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily implying we should give them relocation assistance, but I'd like to make sure that they don't end up on the street somehow and contributing to our homeless population, because it is, I'm going to assume that a month-to-month tenancy in that building is less than what a market rate is to rent a place now. And then I have concerns because I'm pretty sure one of the businesses in here is a head shop. Are we going to be a landlord to a head shop?
While it may not be the most desirable use to the CRA, they're a tenant in good standing. They've been a long-term tenant. They've run a reputable business that doesn't have any code compliance cases against it, and it is an allowed use in that property, so we wouldn't have any reason to not offer them a lease.
Okay, it is an allowed use in that property, and the CRA is able to have a lease with a business like that?
There's nothing in our CRA plan or in the statute that would prohibit us from leasing to that business.
Okay, and one last question. We are paying over the appraised value here. What is the logic for that?
The rationale for that is the fact that it's a very large key piece being on both corners. It's adjacent to property that the CRA already owns. And so for redevelopment of that block, being able to acquire that property and then continue our assembly is what's going to end up with meaningful redevelopment. If you don't have that corner piece that's south of what we already own, it's going to be a little more challenging to redevelop because you're going to end up with a very narrow parcel.
I agree with you that it is definitely a strategic parcel with where it's located there. I just have some concerns about how the building looks and how we're going to manage that as the owner of that property then with the upstairs. Would those just be vacant upstairs?
Unless we have commercial tenants that it would be suitable for them to occupy, but the way two of those upstairs units are built out, they're built out as a residential unit. So I think it would be a challenge to find a commercial tenant that is going to want to go into that location. The other upstairs spaces were office spaces that were used by the owner. So those could be leased out as office space.
Okay. Do we need to go in and spend money on that upstairs, or is everything in okay condition?
Everything is in okay condition. The property just in 2019 had their 40-year, 50-year inspection done, and they didn't note any issues as far as the structural or electrical issues that needed attention.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my concern is that we're paying over the appraised value for a property that we only have tenants on the bottom floor. We don't really have a plan for tenants in the top upstairs. So when you look at the income generation of it also, I would think that paying over the appraised value is difficult to get to. So I'd love to see that appraisal also. Thank you.
Very good. Further commission discussion, questions? Commissioner Moss?
I'm going to move that we postpone this until the next meeting.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded to postpone this till the next meeting, which it's our understanding that it will be sometime in mid-late January, correct? So, okay. Do we need a date, Ms. McKenna?
It's not an ordinance, so you don't have to have a date, but
Preferable.
I
What's
recommend
the-
that you have one so that folks will know.
What is the date of our second?
Your next meeting is on January 9th.
But is it going to be on January 9th or the second meeting?
23rd.
25th, right?
23rd?
23rd.
Okay.
23rd.
So your motion is to postpone till January 23rd?
Yes.
Unless, Mr. Harrison, you think you could get it on the January 9th special meeting? Would it help the? Well, I mean, my question is, I mean, Commissioner Moss made the motion to the next meeting, but Mr. Tran said, well, there's a chance we're going to have a special meeting on this right before our second commission meeting. But if we can do it on the first meeting in January, if it would be expeditious and help the process, I mean, it's you guys tell us.
We can do it on the first meeting as well.
Okay, so January 9th? Okay. Commissioner Moss, is that good for you?
Good for me.
Okay. The motion is to postpone till January 9th, special CRA meeting. It's been moved by Commissioner Moss, seconded by Commissioner Fournier. Further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Segerson-Eaton,
Yes.
Vice Chair McGee,
Yes.
Chair Harden.
Yes. Item 7 is a resolution.
A resolution of the Pompano Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving and authorizing the proper officials to execute a First Amendment to amended and restated property disposition and development agreement between the CRA and Horizon New Homes Development LLC relating to one vacant infill housing parcel in the Northwest CRA District, providing an effective date.
So moved?
Second?
Moved and second for discussion. Mr. Tran.
Yes, good afternoon, Chairman, Vice Chair, members of the CRA Board, New and Tran, CRA Director. So the CRA Board approved a property disposition and development agreement with Horizon New Homes Development on June 19th, 2018. The premise was to build 2 single-family homes, the last 2 remaining vacant lots in Ortinique Estates. The address is 1940 and 1920 Northwest 7th Street. There was an approval of an amended and restated development agreement due to some complications with COVID, and the CRA Board approved that July 19th, 2022. The first home was completed at 1940 Northwest 7th Street, received a CO earlier this year in April 25th of 2023, so that home was completed. The second home currently has a shell completion and is on schedule. Due to a letter that was received by CRA staff, the developer noted some challenges from the first home, which delayed the completion of the second home, and is requesting the completion of the second home to be April 11th of 2024. Currently, the developer is here if you have any questions, and I'm available for any questions as well. So they're looking for an amendment to the property disposition and development agreement to extend the construction completion date to April 11th, 2024.
Very good. Thank you for that. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion, questions, concerns? Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Segerson-Eaton,
Yes.
Vice Chair McGee, Chair Harden.
Yes. Item number 8 is a resolution.
A resolution of the Pompano Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving and authorizing the proper officials to execute a second amendment to the property disposition and development agreement relating to 5 properties located at 620, 600, 500, 300 Northwest 31st Avenue and 140 Northwest 27th Avenue, Pompano Beach, Florida, providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second for discussion. Once again, Mr. Tran.
Yes, good afternoon. New and Trans Area Director. Again, this is another extension to another development agreement. The first agreement was approved January 16th of 2018. That agreement encompasses a total of 71 townhouse developments located at 620, 600, 500, 300 Northwest 31st Avenue, and also at 140 Northwest 27th Avenue. The first letter from the developer requested an extension due to COVID-19 shutdown. CRA board approved the first amendment to this property disposition in November 17th of 2020, extending the construction timeline to December 31st, 2022. Since then, the project is on schedule again. The latest was a ribbon cutting earlier this summer on the units along 31st. And the second development on 140 Northwest 27th Avenue is currently in the DRC process for review and comments. The developer has submitted a letter requesting the extension to be February 28th, 2025 for the construction completion of the units along Northwest 31st Avenue, and date of June 30th, 2026 for the units along Northwest 27th Avenue. Since construction has begun, since ribbon cutting was earlier this year, they're moving along schedule. We as staff feel that it's in the best interest of the public to allow the developer that extension of the construction completion date. Developer representative is here for any comments if you have any, and staff is as well. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for that. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion. Questions, concern, Commissioner Moss?
See what you can do to light a fire under them. See if they can get it done a little faster.
Yes, sir.
Further commission discussion, questions, concerns? Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes?
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Seegerson-Eaton,
Yes.
Vice Chair McGee,
Yes.
Chair Harden.
Yes, that concludes our regular agenda. Takes us up to additional audience to be heard. Since we didn't have any at the beginning, there's none at the end.
None at the end.
Very good. Takes us up to reports. Mr. Harrison.
Yes, sir. So we have another award. This one is the Florida Redevelopment Association, recognizing the best of the best for redevelopment projects in the state of Florida. This one was on October 26th. It's called the Roy F. Kinsey Award as an outstanding example of redevelopment in one of the 13 juried categories for creative organizational development and funding for the Old Town's Backyard Project, acknowledging the excellence of the CRA's work.
Very good.
I'd like to take a look at that. I'll pass it down. And other than wishing everyone happy holidays, that is my report. I'll go ahead and send this book with that award.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Sir. Very cool. All right, that takes us up to CRA Attorney, Ms. McKenna.
I echo Mr. Harrison's wish to everybody to have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year.
Very good. Thank you for that. All right, let's see, our next meeting date now, Mr. Harrison, though, is going to be January 9th for a special CRA meeting. And do we have an idea of what time it would be? Can you, microphone? That's okay.
Thought I still had it. What we would do is we'd have it like at 12:45 right before the city commission meeting starts.
Okay, so then let's go ahead and set it for 12:45 so the public knows about it. January 9th, special CRA meeting at 12:45, right before our regular city commission meeting.
And we'll be sure and remind everyone that it's going to be 15 minutes early.
Yeah, so everybody put it on your calendars, 15 minutes early for that January 9th city commission meeting.
Yes, sir.
Very good, thank you for that.
We'll get that information emailed out this afternoon. So.
Okay,
And
very
if
good.
at any time, any of you have any questions, you can let me know or let the staff know at the CRA. We'd be glad to answer your questions. Don't have to wait until the meeting.
Gotcha. I hear you. All right, moving on. That takes us up to CRA Board. Commissioner Fournier.
Just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We'll see everyone in 2024. Have fun, be safe. Thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Moss.
The special town hall meeting scheduled for this evening with Senators Pizzo and Polsky unfortunately has to be canceled. Senator Pizzo is traveling abroad. He won't be able to be there. So at such time that we can reschedule it, we will let the community know. So I hope this information gets out to people who are planning on attending, because I think there was going to be a big turnout. And other than that, just Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever your celebration is, party hardy. Thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Perkins.
You better not cry. You better not shout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. You didn't know I could sing, could you, Mom? Thank you. Just happy holidays to everyone.
Very good. Love the melody. Thank you. Commissioner Segerson Eaton.
Yes, I'd also like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and Happy Holidays. Thank you. That's it. Thanks.
Very good. Vice Mayor.
I'm going to follow suit as well. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year's. Let's look to make 2024 a great one.
There you go. I endorse that idea. Very good. Thank you, Vice. Yes, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah to everyone. Enjoy the holidays, whatever types of holidays you embrace, and we will see you in the new year on January 9th for our CRA meeting then. And be safe, enjoy yourselves, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.